Actuated by these enlightened views, our hero bade the gentleman sit down, while he himself took occasion to throw some faggots upon the fire, and place upon the now re-established table some bottles of Mousseau. Having quickly completed these operations, he drew his chair vis-a-vis into his companion's, and waited until the latter should open the conversation. But plans even the most skillfully matured are often thwarted in the outset of their application, and the restaurateur found himself nonplussed by the very first words of his visitor's speech. "I see. You know me, Bonbon," said he. "Ha ha ha, he, hi hi, ho ho ho, hoo hoo hoo." And the devil, dropping at once the sanctity of his demeanor, opened to its fullest extent a mouth from ear to ear, so as to display a set of jagged and fang-like teeth, and throwing back his head, laughed long, loudly, wickedly, and uproariously, while the black dog crouched down upon his haunches, joined lustily in the chorus, and the tabby cat, flying off at a tangent, stood up on end, and shrieked in the farthest corner of the apartment. Not so the philosopher. He was too much a man of the world either to laugh like the dog or by the shrieks to betray the indecorous trepidation of the cat. It must be confessed he felt a little astonishment to see the white letters which formed the words "Ritual Catholique" on the book of his guest's pocket, momently changing both their color and their import, and in a few seconds, in place of the original title, the words "Registry de Condamnes" blazed forth in characters of red. This startling circumstance, when Bonbon replied to his visitor's remark, imparted to his manner an air of embarrassment which probably might not otherwise have been observed. "Why, sir," said the philosopher, "why, sir, to speak sincerely, I believe you are, upon my word, the damnedest. That is to say, I imagine I have some very faint idea of that remarkable honor." "Oh, ah, yes, very well," interrupted His Majesty. "Say no more. I see how it is." And hereupon, taking off his green spectacles, he wiped his glasses carefully with the sleeve of his coat, and deposited them in his pocket. If Bonbon had been astonished by the incident of the book, his amazement was now much increased by the spectacle which here presented itself to view. In raising his eyes with a strong feeling of curiosity to ascertain the color of his guest, he found it by no means black, as he had anticipated, nor gray, as might have been imagined, nor yet hazel, nor blue, nor yet yellow, nor red, nor purple, nor white, nor green, nor any other color in the heavens above, or in the earth beneath, or in the waters under the earth. In short, Pierre Bonbon not only saw plainly that His Majesty had no eyes whatsoever, but could discover no indications of their having existed or in any previous period. For the space where the eyes should naturally have been was, I am constrained to say, simply a dead level of flesh. It was not in the nature of the metaphysician to forbear making some inquiry into the sources of so strange a phenomenon, and the reply of His Majesty was at once prompt, dignified, and satisfactory. "Eyes, my dear Bonbon, eyes, did you say? Oh, I perceive. The ridiculous prints, which are in circulation, have given you a false idea of my personal appearance. Eyes. True. Eyes, Pierre Bonbon, are very well in their proper place. That, you would say, is the head? Right. The head of a worm. To you, likewise, these optics are indispensable. Yet, I will convince you that my vision is more penetrating than your own. There's a cat I see in the corner. A pretty cat. Look at her. Observe her well. Now, Pierre Bonbon, do you behold the thoughts? The thoughts, I say, the ideas, the reflections which are being engendered in her pericranium? There it is now, you do not. She is thinking we admire the length of her tail and the profundity of her mind. She has just concluded that I am the most distinguished of ecclesiastics, and that you are the most superficial of metaphysicians. Thus, you see, I am not altogether blind, but to one of my profession, the eyes you speak of would be merely an encumbrance, liable at any time to be put out by a toasting iron or pitchfork. To you, I allow these optical affairs are indispensable. Endeavor, Bonbon, to use them well. My vision is the soul. Hereupon the guest helped himself to the wine upon the table, and pouring out a bumper for Bonbon, requested him to drink it without scruple, and make himself perfectly at home. A clever book, that is, of yours, Pierre, resumed his Majesty, tapping our friend knowingly upon the shoulder, as the latter put down his glass after a thorough compliance of his visitor's injunction. A clever book, that of yours, upon my honor. It's a work after my own heart. Your arrangement of the matter, I think, however, might be improved, and many of your notions remind me of Aristotle. That philosopher was one of the most intimate acquaintances. I liked him as much for his terrible ill temper as for his happy knack of making a blunderer. There was only one solid truth in all that he has written, and for that I gave him a hint of them out of pure compassion for his absurdity. I suppose, Pierre Bonbon, you know very well to what divine moral truth I am alluding? Cannot say that I... Indeed! Why, it was I who told Aristotle that by sneezing men expelled superfluous ideas through the proboscis. Which is, hiccup, undoubtedly the case, said the metaphysician, while he poured out for himself another bumper of Mousseau and offered a snuff-box to the fingers of his visitor. There was Plato, too, continued his Majesty, modestly declining the snuff-box and the compliment it implied. There was Plato, too, for whom I, at one time, felt all the affection of a friend. You knew Plato, Bonbon? Oh, no, I beg 1,000 pardons. He met me at Athens one day, in the Parthenon, and told me that he was distressed for an idea. I bade him write down. He said that he would do so, and went home, while I stepped over to the pyramids. But my conscience smote me for having uttered a truth, even to aid a friend, and hastening back to Athens, I arrived behind the philosopher's chair as he was inditing. Giving the lamp a fillip with my finger, I turned it upside down. So the sentence now reads, it is, as you perceive, the fundamental doctrine in his metaphysics. Were you ever at Rome? Asked the restaurateur after he finished his second bottle of Mouzeau and drew from the closet a larger supply of Chambertin. But once, Monsieur Bonbon, but once. There was a time, said the devil, as if reciting some passages from a book, there was a time when occurred an anarchy of 5 years, during which the Republic, bereft of all its officers, had no magistracy, besides the tribunes of the people, and these were not legally vested with any degree of executive power. At that time, Monsieur Bonbon, at that time only was I in Rome, and I have no earthly acquaintance, consequently, with any of its philosophy. What do you think of hiccup, Epicurus? What do I think of whom? Said the devil in astonishment. You surely do not mean to find any fault with Epicurus. What do I think of Epicurus? Do you mean me, sir? I am Epicurus. I am the same philosopher who wrote each of the 300 treatises commemorated by Diogenes Laertes. That's a lie, said the metaphysician, for the wine had gotten a little into his head. Very well, sir. Very well indeed, sir, said the Majesty, apparently much flattered. That's a lie, repeated the restaurateur dogmatically. That's a lie. Well, have it your own way, said the devil, pacifically. And Bonbon, having beaten his Majesty at an argument, thought it his duty to conclude a second bottle of Chambertin. As I was saying, resumed the visitor, as I was observing a little while ago, there are some very auteur notions in that book of yours, Monsieur Bonbon. What, for instance, do you mean by all that humbug about the soul? Pray, sir, what is the soul? The soul, replied the metaphysician, referring to his message, is undoubtedly, no, sir. Indubitably, no, sir. Indisputably, no, sir. Evidently, no, sir. Incontrovertibly, no, sir. No, sir. And beyond all question, no, sir. The soul is no such thing. Here the philosopher, looking daggers, took occasion to make an end upon the spot on this third bottle of Chambertin. Then, pray, sir, what? What is it? That is neither here nor there, Monsieur Bonbon, replied his Majesty musingly. I have tasted, that is to say, I have known some very bad souls, and some, too, pretty good ones. Here he smacked his lips, and having unconsciously let fall his hand upon the volume in his pocket, was seized with a violent fit of sneezing.